So let me talk a little bit about Cosmos. In previous videos, we talked about Polkadot. So if you know Polkadot, it's a competitor to Polkadot. And the problem it solves is basically interoperability, connecting all the blockchains together to essentially allow them to communicate. Now this is extremely valuable. There's something called Metcalfe's law, which says that the value of a network is equal to the number of users squared. So the number of users times the number of users. This came originally from communications and then later got applied to social networks. And so if you think about, I'll give you an example to help communicate what the value is. You think about a certain blockchain network. Let's say you have 1 million users. So Metcalfe's law says that that the value would be 1 million times 1 million, which is a trillion, right? Now let's say you have a bunch of other disparate blockchains, right? You have Ethereum and you have all the other networks that you guys know about. And so imagine they're all interconnected now with a solution like Cosmos. So let's say that now the total aggregate network is actually 100 million. Instead of, sorry. So let me say 1 million is the original network, right?
Okay.
And so 1 million times 1 million is a trillion. So now let's say that the total value is 10 million because they're all now interconnected. So now the value is going to be 100 times more what it would have been. So by interconnecting all these blockchains, you're effectively increasing the value of the network by 100. And so this is extremely valuable. If I can compare it to anything, it's like I think Charles Hoskinson compared it to the Wi-Fi standard of the internet that was defined, I think, in 1999. That essentially allowed all the devices to communicate with each other, right? And so imagine if that didn't happen, you may have some devices that can't communicate. That's not very valuable, right? I would have an Android phone. He would have a Apple phone, and we can't communicate. So that's not very valuable. It's not as valuable, right?
Okay, so that part I get, but you said that this is something similar to Polkadot.
So similar to Polkadot, they have some differences.
What's the difference?
Right. So Cosmos, essentially, there's a few differences, but so like Polkadot, I don't know if you remember my description, there was a relay chain that provides security, and then there's all these parachains. You can have up to 100 right now. With Cosmos, there's no limit. And the main chain, which is not called relay chain, it's called the hub. So there's not that same shared security. You get more sovereignty over your security. So players that want more sovereignty over their security, like they don't want to rely on, the network's security protocol. They want to have their own say. Like they want to have their own validators that accept and reject blocks instead of relying on this shared security model. Then you would go with Cosmos. Cosmos doesn't have as many projects as DOT. It has about half.
It's 100, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Whereas about 100,
yeah.
100, 150.
Yeah.
Because DOT has 300. But they have some big players. They have Binance, they have Crypto.com, and some other ones. And because Binance doesn't want to give away control over their security, right? They solve the problem that exists with something like Ethereum, right? Ethereum, a lot of people, why won't they use Ethereum? Why do they want to create their own blockchain? Because they want more control, right? They don't want to have to be using the smart contracts of Ethereum because there's not as much flexibility and customizability, right? Now, when you build your own blockchain, you can have more customizability, more flexibility. And if you do it with DOT, with Polkadot, you still don't have control over your security as much. But the benefit you get is that you don't have to worry about creating your own security. There's complexity in that, right? So if you're a small project, you might go with Polkadot because you want to leverage that functionality. So it's all trade-offs. It depends kind of what you value, what your needs are.